What's up guys, Miss Bess here, back with another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes commentary video, and today I think I've got one of my most exciting videos. That's right guys, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum is in the game. I have been looking forward to this moment for quite some time now. She is by far one of my favorite, if not my favorite character introduced to the franchise, Ahsoka Tano in any era, and this one is probably her most badass form. Just awesome. So her abilities, her basic attack is called Balanced Strike. It deals physical damage to a target enemy and gains protection up 15 to 40% for 2 turns and grants protection up same value to a random ally for 2 turns. That's awesome, because not only is she getting protection up from her basic attack, but that gives her the opportunity, if you call her on an assist or if you give her retribution with like General Kenobi, every time she counterattacks, she's going to be getting that protection up. Now it does not stack, so it's not 40% every time, it just refreshes that 40% protection up. Her first special is called Meditate. Ahsoka Tano gains Foresight and each non-unique buff, excluding Taunt, present on other allies for 2 turns, then gains 5 to 15% turn meter for each buff on her. Yeah, you'll see that in action here in a little bit. And the cooldown on that is 4 to 3 turns, and that's just an Omega upgrade. Oh, and by the way, she gives herself Foresight and Retribution with the Omega there. So that's 2 buffs right there, right off the bat. And so, I mean, you're talking about 30% turn meter just right there. So if she collects just another, I don't know, 4 more buffs, that's 90% turn meter for 6 total buffs. And it happens a lot more often than you think. It's pretty awesome. You pair her up with the right squad, and she gets 100% turn meter just from using that ability, and then turns right around and whips out Whirlwind. Special number 2, consume all buffs on Ahsoka Tano and deal physical damage to the target enemy. This attack scores an additional hit for each type of buff consumed. With the Zeta upgrade, you reduce the cooldown by 1 so that it matches Meditate. That is worth it by itself, in my opinion, because the ability to just meditate, then whip out Whirlwind right afterwards is incredible. The target also can't evade this attack and has minus 50% armor against this attack. So that is an awesome Zeta. I am extremely tempted to make that my next Zeta. Now, her unique is Perseverance. Ahsoka is immune to damage over time effects. Holy crap. And at the end of each turn, that's not her turn, each turn, period. Every turn, Ahsoka dispels all debuffs on herself and loses 14 to 10% health for each debuff dispelled, and then recovers 1 to 5% health for each buff on her. This health loss can't defeat Ahsoka. So, kind of like Emperor Palpatine's shock, she can't die from the effects of this unique. However, this has some very, very awesome implications, which we will go more in depth with this gameplay. So what about her stats? Okay, her base stats are actually pretty good. For being an attacker, she doesn't have a terribly small health pool or protection pool, which is good. And her speed is 148, which is awesome to see that Ahsoka is not going to be slow. Her base tenacity is actually pretty good, also at 34%. First things off the bat, of course, people want to know, is she worth it in the raid? Now, this gameplay footage was provided to me by EA. Again, huge thanks to EA for being able to make it possible for us to actually show you this video footage. This is incredible, an awesome opportunity, and I am indeed grateful for the opportunity to show you guys how incredibly awesome Ahsoka Tano is. Now, you saw her whip out her Whirlwind, and it's very important to note the fact that there is no damage penalty for each additional attack. They are all full strength attacks. So you just saw her consume 5 buffs to just, oh man, it was a thing of beauty. But it's also important to note that she is running under a Wedge lead, so there's a little bit of a damage increase there from Wedge leadership skill, and then she also has some crit damage mods, so her crit damage is being buffed just a little bit more from that mod set. Another thing to keep in mind with Chirrut Imwe on her squad is that she will not have negative status effects long enough for Chirrut to turn them into HOTS. So that is something else that you need to keep in mind if you are going to run Ahsoka Tano with Chirrut Imwe. Now, because she is immune to dots, negative status effect wise, she is much better suited for Phase 2 of the tank raid, at least in my opinion. The reason that I don't think she's as great in Phase 1 of the tank raid is because General Grievous likes to throw out a lot of other negative status effects to include defense down, speed down, you're going to get exposes, and your offense down from the IG 100 Magnadroids. So there's a lot of opportunities for Ahsoka Tano to actually suffer that extra 10% damage from those negative status effects being cleansed off of her through her unique. Now this attack right there was freaking awesome. That was a wicked awesome attack there, but see, she didn't even suffer those dots, which is awesome. Now you do get the expose from the main hull there on the tanks, but that just goes right away, and she doesn't suffer the full damage extent of that expose, so it's actually not a terrible thing there. Again, the flip side of not suffering those dots is that she can't have them turned into HOTS by either Chirrut or General Kenobi, whoever you happen to be running her with on Phase 2 of the tank raid. But honestly, with the amount of damage that she throws out, I'm not worried about being able to throw a couple HOTS on her. Now, this Phase 2 attack was actually pretty impressive for being run on auto, with absolutely no rhyme or reason to the attacks. It ended up being a 1.8 million damage Phase 2 attack there, so that is with all free-to-play characters, assuming that Ahsoka Tano actually is going to be farmable sometime soon, and hopefully not just in Darkside 9B, which is where I am dreading that she will probably end up going. Now, in this PvP battle, this is not really what you would call a meta squad, but it does kind of show, in one way or another, how effective Ahsoka is, and how effective in this particular instance Sith Trooper is. I mean, look at the bonus defense that he has, blocking all of that damage. Man, that was an impressive show of defense there. But this, right there, Ahsoka Tano is immune to stuns, my friends. Yes, she will take that tiny bit of damage, but she is immune to stuns. You cannot stun lock Ahsoka Tano, with the exception of one little mechanic, and we'll show you that here in just a little bit. But Ahsoka Tano is going to be a beefcake. She can whip out some serious damage, and this squad build is actually a pretty interesting squad. Cassian is one of my favorite characters on the Rebel side. K2SO is a fantastic tank. He is very conditional though, but he's great. And this Gar Saxon as I call him, man, Ahsoka Tano practically one-shot him with Whirlwind from half of his protection being filled there. And a nice little 18,000 damage basic attack there to polish off Rex with that squad. Now this squad, again, is not really meta, but it's kind of just a blend of two metas here. And this is impressive. That... Poor Baze, man, just got decimated by Ahsoka Tano, and man, she can be an absolute nightmare in the right squad, especially the squad that you see on screen. Now, a lot of people discount the Cassian K2SO combo, but with Ahsoka Tano, that is actually a very, very strong combination. You know, honestly, I'm thinking that this squad right here is a pretty fantastic squad, you know, runner with Cassian, because, you know, if you run Cassian, his unique gives all rebels a buff at the start of the encounter dependent on their character class. So that right there, right off the bat, Ahsoka Tano has at least 3 unique buffs to pull from, because she is an attacker, so she has the buff for being an attacker. Cassian is support, and whenever Cassian and K2 are combined, K2 gets all 3 buffs. So even if one of the other characters gets dispelled or something happens, K2SO still has all of those buffs for Ahsoka Tano to copy. Now, other characters that I think Ahsoka might do well with, or well on a squad with, are Yoda. I think Yoda, with his ability to steal the enemy's buffs, could easily give Ahsoka a nice little pool of buffs to steal with her meditate. And I think that you will also see some characters like possibly Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin is going to be getting a few extra buffs of his own with his new toolkit, which sounds absolutely amazing. I'm actually very excited to try my Gear 8 at Grand Moff Tarkin. And you can also use Old Ben. I've seen some people use a 4-star Gear 6 Old Ben so that he dies very quickly and gives everybody buffs like Oprah. But you know, the possibilities are endless, really. Ahsoka can do very well with a number of squad combinations, and really the only thing that really does her in is characters like Death Trooper, who can remove buffs, which is exactly why the foresight on her meditate is so awesome. Remember I mentioned the you can't stun Ahsoka Tano? Well, Director Krennic and Death Trooper are pretty much the only combo that I can think of right off the bat that are capable of this. Right there, the Stagger with the Death Trooper bonus attack immediately removes all of Ahsoka Tano's turn meter and dazed and then stuns her. Now, she didn't really get stunned so much as she just had all of her turn meter stripped before the buffs could be removed, but it is kind of a way to stun, quote-unquote, air quotes here, stun Ahsoka Tano. Now, that Death Trooper, man, just never had a chance. But at any rate, I could go on for days about Ahsoka Tano, but in the interest of keeping things somewhat short, I'm going to go ahead and give my final thoughts here. So, Ahsoka Tano is not just going to be a badass rebel that is only for rebel squads, because she, I mean, as you can see from the video footage there, as long as you've got a team that can throw up buffs, Ahsoka Tano will flourish. So even if she's only picking up 1 or 2 extra buffs, she's still going to punish her enemies with Whirlwind. It's just insane, guys. So again, I know, broken record here. Big thanks to EA for letting me show you guys this awesome footage. If you missed my last video, you can click the annotation on screen to be taken to that. And as always, guys, like, favorite, subscribe. Definitely share this one. This one's definitely one to share with your friends, with your buddies, to actually show off how awesome Ahsoka Tano is. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server to talk about Ahsoka, and I'll catch you later.